number 2. And yes, I am Steve Foster, your host, along with the former All-Pro NFL quarterback. Cool. He's so cool. Jeff Blake. What's up, son?
What's up, son?
And also, yeah, that's right, big baby, Spencer Conley. And we all trying to keep that glare from Jeff Blake off of us, Spence, with these shades.
We're trying hard, man.
He had to wear his own shades to keep his glare off, too. 14 years in the league is unprecedented. 25,000 plus yards passed for. 25,000. 135
Congratulations to you on that,
plus
Every time it's said,
touchdowns completed, passes completed. So lots of mozzarella, friends.
And lots of hits, too.
Lots of hits. Well, that's your fault. No, some of that's not your fault.
Some of that
You stayed in. You said, hey, Johnny, I stayed in the pocket. See what? No.
Yes.
You have all your.
What do you think about the Cleveland Johnny Manziel's game last night?
I couldn't see it because here's the thing. It said it was coming on NFL Network at 11, and it didn't. They had the
You can watch the replay anytime.
Well, yeah, I know he scored.
He had a little touchdown. He ran it, and that was vintage. Johnny Manziel. Scramble, fake the pump throw, and dive in.
Hoyer, and we'll get to this. Hoyer fumbled initially,
yes,
and so and I know there's a lot.
And he had an interception too.
Right, there's a lot of fans out there doing a Johnny watch and other things. Let's bring our man back that we had last week, a very good friend, the Big 12 recruiting insider for ESPN. You can see him on Thursdays on ESPNU. He's also on ESPN.com. Our man from North Texas, Damon Sayles. Damon, welcome back to Laying Down the Law.
What's going on, guys? How's the Sunday going?
Going great.
Going great.
Yeah, man. We appreciate you coming back. Before we get going, because I do it at the end, but I want to do it now at the beginning, your Twitter handle, Damon, so people can follow you.
Yeah, you can follow me at Damon Sayles, DamonSayles, at Damon Sayles.
Awesome. And then, Jeff, how can we follow you?
Jeff Blake _8.
And then I am Foss, FOSS _sports. And Spence.
SC2 Driven, TOODRIVEN.
All right. Now, back to the programming. Damon, we were having a conversation last week about the Big 12 and just so much to talk about. Excitement and curiosity, different things like that. And I also come to find out Baylor is opening and christening their new stadium Sunday evening against SMU as well.
Yeah, it's a good look for Baylor. First of all, if you haven't had a chance to see McLean Stadium, it's an outstanding look. It only makes sense for Baylor to have the opportunity to open their games on during the night, because it's just kind of aesthetically it makes a whole lot of sense. The atmosphere is going to be electric anyway. Baylor's coming off an outstanding season, and it's going to be exciting. Big times up in Waco, and if you're an SMU fan, it'll be a great chance to also enjoy an environment outside of your own. So I'm expecting big crowds from Waco, from Baylor fans. I'm also expecting SMU to bring a nice group, and it should be a lot of fun. Should be a lot of points scored. I'll tell you that much.
Damon, we didn't really get a chance to talk about the state of Oklahoma when it comes to the Big 12. OU touted as being probably number one in the conference, and their quarterback hails from right here in San Antonio. He just rolled up 35 as smooth as could be past a few universities, as in Texas and Baylor, missed SMU and TCU, and somehow San Antonio Brennan's T. Knight did a serious number in the Sugar Bowl against Alabama, and now he's got some experience and confidence.
And that's what it's all about, just having that experience. And you want to go into
I'm sorry, is it Brennan or Reagan?
It's Reagan.
It's Reagan. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Right.
I got to be factually correct. Well,
we knew it.
Sorry,
but yeah, it's always good to come in with some experience, to come into a season with that positive advantage. And when you talk about Oklahoma in general, no one outside of Oklahoma expected them to do what they did to Alabama last year. Let's be honest.
I did. I'm gonna tell you, I did.
No, you did.
I did.
Did you? Okay, one person Oklahoma. But no, seriously, though, bottom line is when you can have a game the way that they played and you're able to use that for this upcoming season, I mean, that's a big deal because we got to remember that game happened all the way back in January, and people are still talking about it as if it happened last week. So the Sooners are going to come in. They're going to be ready to go. They've already been touted as the team to beat in the Big 12, and it makes a lot of sense. They've got a lot of players coming back. They've got some huge running backs. As you said, the quarterback play is there, and this is a team that they're going to play with a chip on their shoulder, whether they're the favorite or whether they're the gross underdog. And that's what I like about Bob Stoops' teams. Every year he comes in and he lets those guys know, I don't care if we're favored to win 12 games or favored to win 2. We're going to play as if nobody expects us to do anything. And these guys buy into that system, and they produce. It's clockwork every year.
Talking with Damon Sayles, the Big 12 recruiting insider for ESPN.
Hey, Damon, this is Jeff Blake. Quick question. How is a program like Texas unable to recruit that stable quarterback year in and year out, and you get your other teams, Baylor, Oklahoma, and other teams in the Big 12 that's able to, even SMU, who's not in the Big 12, but they're able to establish their quarterback and have that guy that's their leader there for like 2 or 3 years?
I think it all goes back to just coaching personnel. When you look back at what Mac Brown did for the program, he was an asset. He was a definite asset. But on the flip side, when we talk about Texas quarterbacks in the Mac Brown era, how many guys can we mention? It seems like there's Vince Young and there's Colt McCoy, and
that's it.
Then that's about it.
Major Applewhite. Major Applewhite.
Well, yeah, major
on the college level.
Yeah, on the college level.
Major Applewhite, and there's a lot of fans who are big fans of Major Applewhite. But when we're talking about quarterbacks up to date, it almost seems like Applewhite's kind of put on the back burner. And it's unfair to him because he was an outstanding quarterback. He was a dynamic quarterback for the Longhorns. But because Vince Young won the national championship, because Colt McCoy got the team to the national title game, that's what these fans are looking at, and that's what the outsiders are looking at too. So now you have Charlie Strong coming in. People know him as the guy who recruited Teddy Bridgewater, and we saw what he did with Bridgewater. And, maybe things will change. We'll see what happens. This is a huge year for Strong and for the Longhorns, just to kind of silence the critics. Not necessarily to have, that 10 or 11-win season, but, it's kind of like Kevin Sumlin in his first year. The object of the game wasn't necessarily to put together that overly dynamic year. It was just to shut some people up and just let them know, okay, I know what I'm doing. Let me do this. I've got a couple of years to work, but if I can put together a winning, productive season, then everything's going to be fine. And that's exactly what happened. We saw what happened in these last 2 years, and Charlie's going to be in the same boat. So if he can put together a nice year, and if he can get some quarterback play out of David Ash, then everybody's going to be quiet, and they're going to just kind of let him work, and that's just how it goes.
Hold on, Damon. I will, just for clarification, not to lean left or right, but Aggie fans are a heck of a lot different than Horns fans.
But are they really?
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
Think about that, though, because the way I see it, a fan is a fan is a fan.
Oh, no.
Aggie fans are definitely more boisterous on social media. But when it comes to face-to-face conversations, fans are fans, man. I mean, that's just how it is. Social media has become a dominant force, and it's allowed everybody to have that chest like the Incredible Hulk. Let's keep it honest, man. But when you put people in an environment and put them side by side, that Texas fan is just as angry as that Texas A&M fan. That A&M fan is just as angry as the Ohio State.
I don't think I can agree with you. And I can guarantee you
UT fans are more fair weather. They are more critical of their team. Charlie Strong could win 10 games, not be the champion of the Big 12, and I guarantee you, somebody from down here in San Antonio who said he may not be a position coach might be on him, and 10 wins for that UT team would be very good for
especially since they haven't done it in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. That's just me.
Yeah,
I only have
and-
one opinion and thought. That's it.
And I'm all for your opinion. I value that opinion. I have a different approach with it. I think Charlie's taken a lot of flack off the top. When you talk about San Antonio, he had that issue in San Antonio. With the coaching seminar or wherever he decided to go and had that little issue with the speaking engagement. Like I said, winning is going to cure a lot of things. And if he can come in and put together a solid season, there's going to be a lot less people who are going to have a lot to say. And I truly believe that. I just think it's going to take some time for these fans to understand that, okay, I'm a totally different coach than Mac Brown, and I think that's another deal. Everybody's so used to what Mac Brown did these last 16 years. Mac Brown was a great coach. He was an excellent ambassador. He was a guy who loved to speak to the public. Charlie Strong is a totally different guy. He's all about X's and O's. He's somebody he just wants to go in. I just want to coach these guys. He's not necessarily the introvert, but he's somebody who just wants to come in and coach. And that's, if people can understand that, just kind of let him do what he does, then, it's going to be a different ball game. And, it's a different culture. It's a culture change in Texas. And people they have to understand that. And if they don't, then that's where the hang-up's going to be for the next couple of years.
Well, Damon, and we're talking with Damon Sayles, the Big 12 recruiting insider for ESPN and ESPN.com. I've had the pleasure, and the gentlemen that are facing the microphones have had the pleasure to do a lot of special things in college, and one to be an All-Pro in the highest level of professional football. I am going to tell you that when it comes to fans, we had to block it out. And then I became a coach in national championship level, Orange Bowls and things like that. You have to block that out. And most people usually stop their play around the teen years, and they don't get the opportunity to go on for whatever reason. Some choose not. I think, unfortunately, there's a lot of with technology the way it is. There's a lot of critical thought out there about how easy it is. I tell people, if I could ever own a minor league baseball team, the guy that yells the loudest, I take him down during the 7th inning stretch, I give him a bat, a helmet, and 5 pitches. And I would throw the first one under his chin, and the next 3 strikes on the outside corner, I'd say, go back, have a seat, and let the players do what they do. It's not as easy as it looks.
I agree, 100%. And
it's just
again,
not. It's just not.
Social media, I guess, and you hit the nail on the head. Social media turns a lot of people into Superman. So
I like that.
That's just how it is. That's how it's always been. Because
Damon, who wins the Big 12?
Well, everybody's saying Oklahoma wins the Big 12. I think that'd be a safe pick. But obviously, it's a slap in the face to Baylor, for winning it last year. Baylor, they were young. They had some older guys on defense, but they also had some younger guys making plays. And now they've got some guys coming back on that defense. Obviously, on the offensive end, you've got a guy like Bryce Petty, who is a Heisman hopeful, and he's expected to dominate. So you look at Baylor, but I think that sleeper team right now is Oklahoma State, and a lot of people are really, really sleeping on what the Cowboys can do. They've got a kid, Tyreek Hill, who's going to be one of the best players in the conference very, very quickly. He's a running back, wide receiver, kick returner type of kid. Ridiculous speed, absolutely ridiculous speed. Runs for their track team, and he's going to be a guy who is going to give problems all over the Big 12 conference as long as he stays healthy. So I'm looking at Oklahoma obviously as the team to beat, but you cannot count out Baylor or Oklahoma to definitely make a run for that championship. In particular, Baylor, because again, they are the defending champions, and again, it's a disrespect if you don't bring them into conversation.
Damon, this is Jeff Blake again. I want to ask you a quick recruiting question for University of Texas. University of Texas recruiting probably has went down the last couple of years, especially in the state of Texas, especially when you're losing a lot of your kids to Oklahoma State, LSU and other surrounding
A&M.
A&M, other surrounding schools. Charlie Strong recruited very heavily out of the state of Florida. I mean, you look at his Louisville team, 50% of his team was from the state of Florida or in that southeast region. Do you think that he would still recruit heavily out of that southeast region, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi area?
No, without question. I mean, it works for him. Why would you change your recruiting tactic if it's working for your program, working for your system? Now, that's the thing that the diehard fan is going to want to hear. That fan of Texas, the state of Texas in general, they're not going to like that, because when you're talking about the Texas Longhorns, the object of the game is to get the best players from the state of Texas. And
I thought the goal was to get the best players in the country.
Well, you would think that, but
that's what I thought. If I'm a coach, I want the best players in the country.
You would think that, and that would make a whole lot of sense. But again, there's a fan out there who wants to win, and then there's a fan out there who wants to get the best players from the state. Texas, the state of Texas is weird like that.
Hold up. I'll just say this. I think the best formula, if you had 20, 25 scholarships, you get 15 kids from Texas, you get the rest of the 10 from California, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, and New York.
You find your blue chippers.
You find your blue chippers. And you tell them, welcome to Texas. You ain't from here, but you got here as quickly as you could, and I would blend them in with the other 15 that could show them what it means to be about Texas, and you get the best blend of the best kids in the country. That takes the strength of Charlie Strong's recruiting in Florida and the Southeast, along with the kids that want to play for the University of Texas that are burnt orange, and that's how I roll. But
let me tell you what I would do if I'm the coach. I'm getting the best players, period. I don't care where you're from. If you got a 5-star in Anchorage, Alaska, I'm going to go for you.
Right.
Because the bottom line is this. Whether or not you're getting players in Texas, or Florida or Alaska, or you have to go to Dubai to get them, as long as these guys can produce, and if they're the elite players, I'm going for them. But again, there are fans out there who look at that and they ask, why are you recruiting from Florida? It's because it works for them. It's always worked for them. And
look, they've got to play for the University of Texas. Okay, so I don't care where you're from. The song said, "Ain't where you're from, it's where you're at."
Right.
Okay.
Agreed.
So when you put it on, you put it on. Okay.
And Texas people are still prideful, and they believe that the better football players still come from this state. And
exactly.
and the issue with what's going on when you have Manziel. The boy right out of there, out of Killeen, that played at Baylor. You have RG3.
Foles.
Okay, right. There's no way that you don't get all three of those. You don't get one of those. And so that's what they're looking at. Okay, still, these kids went, they excelled in college, and now they're playing on a professional level, and they're from our state. What UT is saying, what the state of Texas is saying, that talent shouldn't leave. It should be at
But whose decision was that?
I think UT got lazy in recruiting.
Well,
I think they got lazy in recruiting, and it's clear that they did.
But they shouldn't. They didn't even have to get lazy. You think Nick Foles? I mean, you want me to text him? Hey, Nick, if they would have given you a scholarship, would you stay here?
Look at Emory.
Yeah, Emory Blake. Let's go to the family. Would your son have stayed?
If they would have recruited Emory in the beginning hard, like they did all the other guys, they offered Emory a gray shirt, and they offered that late at the end of the game because I don't know why. They just never really recruited him. Same with Ryan Swope. They never really recruited. Both of those guys, Ryan was at Westlake, Emory was at Austin High. Both of them were 4 or 5-star recruits, all Central Texas, the whole nine, and neither one of them were highly recruited by the University of Texas. Ryan goes to Texas A&M, and you know he blows it up. Emory goes to Auburn, wins national championship.
Right,
and these two kids right there in Austin.
Well, let's also remember that there's a kid in Cleveland playing right now, playing for the Browns, who also wanted to go to Texas, but he was recruited as a defensive back. So,
it's a new day. And I'll let you finish the question, Damon. It's a new day, so we start with a clean sheet of paper. But go ahead.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. All of the questions involving recruiting of the past, you have to look at who was recruiting at that time. So now you have to go into, okay, the present and the future. Who's doing what? Who are they recruiting, and what are they doing with the talent once they get there? So, right now, a lot of questions are still TBD. But after next year, maybe after the following year, that's when you come in and you ask, okay, what exactly is going on with this quarterback situation? Are they recruiting the top talent? When you look at Texas, I mean, right now they've got two pretty good guys coming in. Obviously, Gerard Hurd is a freshman. He's there. There's high expectations for him. And they've got a 2015 commit, from New Mexico, 6'7", 235 pounds. This is a guy that a lot of people are very, very high on. He's the number one player in New Mexico. So we might have this conversation next year, 2 years from now, and it might be a totally different conversation. So, right now I think we just have to see. It's all on Charlie's shoulders right now.
Yeah, we're talking with Damon Sayles, the Big 12 recruiting insider for ESPN. You can see him on ESPNU on Thursdays, ESPN.com with his blog. A couple of things. New Mexico. And I played against Las Cruces Mayfield, Las Cruces High. We beat them up pretty bad. Alamogordo, the Tigers, they used to come in. I hope that works. And, again, I don't want to knock that football because it's New Mexico. Nonetheless, we do have to give Charlie Strong an opportunity. I'm going to tell you this. Don't sleep on Baylor. I think their defense may be even better than it was last year. And it's a quarterback-driven college and pro league. If you have a Jeff Blake and he's coming back, if you have a Bryce Petty is coming back, I don't care what you do because his process is going to be a lot better than what you have. And you're right, defense wins championships, but it's going to be very interesting when you have a pretty good defense and an excellent quarterback in Bryce Petty. And it's the 40th anniversary of that 74 Southwest Conference champion team that was at Baylor as well in a new stadium. So I'm very excited. What about this Thursday's game, South Carolina and Texas A&M?
I'm not going to say it's going to answer a lot of questions, but it is going to answer some questions. Everybody's asking, how can the Aggies perform life after Johnny Manziel? That's the big question. Kenny Hill's got an opportunity to, shut some people up, to silence some critics. Kevin Sumlin, as we all know, he's been, very, very businesslike in his approach. It's funny because the old ball coach over at South Carolina, he's been having some fun, taking some shots here and there, some silent shots here and there, and talking about the 12th man, and they better show up, and it's all fun and games right now. But when you look at this game, I think it's one obviously that Texas A&M is going to need a little more than South Carolina, just because from a critique standpoint, everybody figured that this team couldn't get anything done without Johnny Manziel. So this is Kenny Hill's team now. He's going to have to show out. I remember 2 years ago we wrote a story about Kenny Hill, and it was mentioned. The headline was Johnny 2.0 ? Because they both possess similar tactics. They're both dual threat quarterbacks. They're both playmakers. They both make a lot out of nothing. So this is Kenny's team. Can he get the job done? And that defense is going to be tested. That might be a bigger issue. If everybody loves to talk about offense, but that defense needs to show that it's matured from last year. As we all saw, they struggled. They struggled tremendously. But most of them were freshmen. There are a lot of freshmen in that defense in the last year. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a huge game. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm expecting it to be a lot more competitive than some. But, I'm looking forward to seeing what the Aggies can do.
Absolutely. He's Damon Sayles. Go ahead, Spence. We're gonna.
I think it's. I just don't. I think sometimes we just like to hear ourselves talk, and we don't focus on facts and giving. And just really discussing the things that really matter. When A&M came into the SEC, everybody said it was going to take them 3 to 5 years just to play, and that was false. I didn't say you did, Steve. We know that you're a special breed.
I am.
But when we're talking about when we're talking about the rest of the world, they didn't do that. One, A&M has already proven that they can play in the SEC.
Well, I knew what Kevin Sumlin could do because I saw him at University of Houston prior to that.
Right, but University of Houston, Conference USA still isn't the SEC, and I'm just speaking of that specifically. Now, and I think that they've done that, and I'm glad, and I just hate them that you bring it up on the end, the fact that the defense offense was young. We got to bring it all up, and that they were freshmen. They have proven that they can play in the SEC, and guess what? You know, everybody has changed. Even Alabama, they're having changes at the quarterback. And you can be a solid team, and if you struggle at one spot, it could change the whole dynamics of the season.
That spot.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the same thing that and we have to give this kid an opportunity. You know what I mean? We didn't want to give Johnny that. And I think that, give him an opportunity, and let's wait. Thursday is right around the corner.
All right.
And we'll find out.
Without question. And when you say that, just one quick add, when you say that you have to give them a chance, I think that works with everybody. You know, it works with the quarterback. It works with that DB who's going to get his first crack of college football experience. And it works with that brand new head coach. You know, there might be somebody in Austin that might be listening who might agree with that.
Yeah.
So everybody, you get that shot. You know, this is no longer a dress rehearsal. This is the real deal. And I totally agree with you on that. But he's going to have to produce. And we all know if you don't produce, that's when the dogs come out. So, Thursday's going to be fun. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Damon Sayles, thank you. And, again, you can always come back. We can update. You know, there's probably some other folks that thought that some things would roll out like I did. I'm not really that special. Hey, listen, you called me out on the air, so Damon, I'm going to call out because I hit Jeff Blake up. I need to see a bucket over his head with a lot of ice water, and then I need to see Spencer Conley.
And listen, man, I'm already a day late in dollar show.
Yeah, well,
online,
you need to do some things or put some money in the plate, do something. But I need to have that because mine is on the Laying Down the Law Sports Radio website, and Damon, I appreciate you calling me out. It was cold. Nonetheless, awareness has been made, and I don't know if you did it, but if you did, show me or post it as well, and we could put it on our page. Go like our page, Laying Down the Law, Sports Radio. We certainly appreciate it. And, Damon, we appreciate your time today.
Hey, no problem, man. Hey, and it's good stuff on the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, man. Hey, I hope you guys get it done. You've been challenged now, so I'm looking forward to seeing your videos as well. And Foss, I'll forward my video to you a little later today.
Sounds great, my friend. Thank you for your time.
All right, man. Y'all take care.
All right.
Do the same.
We extended it, but, I mean, when college and pro football's coming up, this is what you got to do. We got our Houston Texans insider coming up next, Jay Foreman, right here on Laying Down the Law.